Friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And welcome back to Going in Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to right here at youtube.com/Stephen Larson. We also film it live at the Twitch at twitch.tv/Stephen Larson. And of course, we're found wherever audio podcasts can be found as I turn down the volume on my television where I'm also watching our show over there. Happy Monday, everybody. Hopefully everybody had a good weekend. How was your weekend? From my understanding, you got on top of a roof.
Well, not just any roof, my roof. I wouldn't go on just anybody's roof. I'd only go on my own roof.
Well, look, here's the thing, buddy. You got that telescoping ladder. You can go on anybody's roof you want to now.
I could, as long as it's no more than 12 feet high. Yes, you're right. Ladder worked fine. Got on the roof, cleaned off all the debris from the redwood in the front yard.
And then please tell me that you brought out an old bed mattress and then, did a dive off that.
No, because I would have missed said mattress. It'd been elbow drop on rocks is what it would have been. I'm going to risk that. Yeah. I very gently and gingerly descended from ladder off roof and made it one piece. I don't like heights at all.
So you didn't end up like Will Hobbs when he won the TNT title?
No.
Just up there?
Nope. On the top of it, nope.
Oh my gosh!
If I wanted to get on the roof without the telescoping ladder, I would have had to have done that. Yes.
Well, what a nightmare situation there for Hobbs, but not for Larson. Anyways,
nope.
On today's episode, of course, we're going to talk about AEW Rampage. We've got a Raw preview. The draft is starting this week, so not only are we going to talk about this past Friday's WWE Smackdown, but given that there's basically no news in the cycle right now for the professional wrestling, we thought we'd have a good old-fashioned Steve versus Larson predictions. But this time, the WWE draft, maybe we can put, I don't know, a Popeye's lunch up on the line or something.
Lunch, you say?
Something like that. I don't know. But yeah, figured we'll do. We'll predict some stuff. The draft is starting this Friday on SmackDown. It's continuing Monday on Raw. Who knows if they're going to do more stuff after that or concurrently on their YouTube channel. I don't even think they probably know at this point. So yeah, be sure to leave your the friendos out there, our audience. Be sure to let us know what predictions you have for the draft. It's just for fun. Just something
for
to talk
entertainment purposes
about.
only. Exactly.
It's for entertainment. Exactly. So be sure to drop your draft predictions in the comments on the YouTube, or of course, if you're watching live in the chat. If you're watching live in the chat, also hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button. And Larson, do you want to go first, or do you want to flip a coin to see who goes first?
Oh, flip a coin, I guess. I'm still trying to decide how to structure this because I want to get my prediction in before yours. If I think they're something we might have in common, because if I say mine first, you don't get to say yours.
Here's the rules. There's no like you say a thing and then I'm like, oh yeah, that's my pick too. I have that written down. No, it doesn't matter. Mine won't count if you've already said it, and vice versa.
Yes.
So it's kind of important for somebody to get the first pick. And here's the deal. We get to pick who gets to stay. And we're going to do like 5 each.
Yeah.
We can pick, does this person stay? Does this person switch brands? And then NXT call up with the brand they're going to.
Okay. Some of mine aren't that specific per se, though.
Like I'm assuming you're just gonna say like a certain NXT superstar gets called up, but you're not gonna specify which brand.
No, it's more like it's easy to determine. I have like a number where I think it's like essentially over under this number of NXT call-ups are going to happen.
Oh, okay. Well, whatever. We could do whatever we want. Do you want to go first? You want to flip a thing on it?
All right, sure. I'll go first since I already mentioned the NXT. There are going to be at least 4 NXT call-ups over the course of the draft. Probably more, but I thought 4 is a good over-under. I guess it should be 4.5. Okay. 4.5 NXT call-ups. You got to think Zoe Stark, pretty deadly. Grayson Waller after he loses to Carmelo at Spring Breakin' this week. It's entirely possible. Did we just do something where we talked about prospective NXT call-ups? I feel like we did. Overrun. That's right. And we both you had 9 and I had an additional like 5 or 6 that were unique. So there's the draft pool, if you will, for NXT talent is pretty deep.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And I would expect at least 4.5, over under 4.5. I'm saying
you're saying it's the over though. So you're saying five at the least.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're saying 5 or more.
Sure.
Okay. All right. And of course, after we mention one, we can just talk about it.
Yes.
I don't think that's unreasonable, given that like everybody's on the table. Like they're going to announce, I guess. I mean, I'm assuming they're going to announce via both TV and their social media when people get drafted. So I think that's probably a reasonable assumption to make. There's going to be 5 call-ups. I really think that after the draft and after Backlash, especially because it's sort of all in the same, 2 weeks or so.
Yeah.
I think that there's going to be some significant changes to what they're doing right now. And one of those, I'll go with this. My first one is going to be, screw it all. This is a pretty big one. And again, this is actually pretty specific. The men's mid-card champions will swap brands. United States champion Austin Theory will go to SmackDown, and Gunther will go to Raw.
We get a belt trade then, huh?
No, I think that they're actually going to, because it's not called the WWE Raw United States Championship.
The belts aren't color-coded based on the brands they're on either.
That could be another. I don't know if you have that written down in your predictions, but I don't think they're going to do that again. I think they might have learned their lesson with that Becky Charlotte catastrophe.
Yes,
that was a mess. I don't think they're going to do that again.
Yeah, that was a massive mess.
But no, I think Theory's heading over to the blue brand, and I think Gunther is going to head over to the Raw brand. I think they both need fresh matchups because you can only do Austin Theory versus Bobby Lashley so many times. And I think Gunther has sort of run out of people to feud with as well. I mean, he could do a solo feud against Drew McIntyre, but who knows what's going on with that. Drew apparently needs time to heal up a little bit. I don't see them doing Gunther versus Bray Wyatt if he ever shows up again. So yeah, I think the men's mid-card champions are going to swap-a-roo. That's my number one.
Okay. I will go to this one. This one's maybe a little far-fetched, but I think if they really want to start pushing this bloodline story in some interesting direction, something like this needs to happen. Roman, Solo, they stay on SmackDown. Usos get drafted to Raw.
Wow.
And now, depending on the outcome of this tag title match between Sami and Kevin Owens and the Usos, if the Usos win, then maybe Roman's like, no, he'll have Heyman go and lobby Adam Pearce for a trade or something, so the Usos come to SmackDown. But if the Usos end up losing that tag title match on Friday, they get drafted to Raw. Roman's just kind of like, well, what are you gonna do about it?
All right. Yeah, I think that'd be pretty intriguing. I get the feeling that so is your prediction that they end up on Raw, or that the attempt is made to draft them to Raw?
The prediction is they get drafted to Raw. I don't know, since I don't know what's going to happen at the tag title match.
But they might get politicked back to SmackDown. But the actual graphic with them going to Raw is going to be on the thing. Yeah, that's an interesting one. I wonder if if in storyline they would try to have Heyman politic out of that and keep them all together. It would not surprise me if we got like a throwaway line from Heyman. No, I made sure the entire bloodline is being drafted together to SmackDown.
Yeah, something like that.
So may I ask, does that preclude me then from saying Roman gets drafted to SmackDown?
No.
Okay, Roman gets drafted to SmackDown. I think they're going to do the thing with the title, man. I think that he's going to go to SmackDown. I'm not going to make a prediction on how they do the title thing.
Oh, you mean split the titles?
Right. Because having him just hand over the WWE title sounds stupid.
Yeah.
But they got to do something. I think he's on the graphic for the draft. I think Roman gets drafted to SmackDown.
Yeah, I think SmackDown somehow gets the first pick, and of course they take Roman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, this is the next one I'll roll with here. I feel like we're gonna see a couple horsewomen swap brands. Because I feel it just needs to happen. I feel like Charlotte's exhausted most of her matches on SmackDown already.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like Bayley's kind of done the same on Raw.
Oh, that's a really good point. Bayley, especially, I think you've got a really good point on.
Yeah, and we might very well see the breakup of Damage Control via draft here. So Bayley's going to SmackDown the draft. Since Charlotte's on leave right now, we might not see her actually get drafted, although I'd be pretty surprised. She's a pretty major name not to get drafted.
Mm-hmm.
So Bayley to SmackDown, Charlotte to Raw.
Okay. Bayley to SmackDown, Charlotte to Raw. Okay. All right. I can see that.
And then you can start a program over the summer, Charlotte and Bianca Belair.
All right. I'm going to go a different direction. I think that's a distinct possibility. Mine might preclude that from happening, but I'm going to go with this one. And I don't know. I guess you can call it a 2-for-1 special like LA Knight does. Because if you do one, you got to do the other. I think Seth and Becky both go to SmackDown. I think they're going to do that. I think Seth has done kind of as we've seen with his Backlash match. They have literally exhausted everything for Seth Rollins to do. Yeah. But that's sort of contradicting. If Roman goes to SmackDown, then there's going to be an empty title there on Raw, and Seth probably should have first dibs at that. But then Cody might have that one, and they've already done Seth versus Cody a million times. So maybe Roman versus Seth is on the horizon, and that would motivate them doing Seth over to SmackDown. But I got Seth and Becky both going to SmackDown.
See, I thought about Becky going to SmackDown rather than Bailey. I just didn't know if they want to keep the Becky and Trish feud. And Trish is, I don't think she's beholden to any brand, but might want to keep that story on Raw. Just yeah. That's the only reason, because I did consider Becky going to SmackDown rather than Bailey for sure.
Yes, yeah. So there you go. Seth and Becky go to SmackDown. That's my pick.
This next one might be a bit more wishful thinking. Let's get a commentary team shakeup.
Wow.
Let's actually Cole and Corey Graves are pretty solid on SmackDown. I don't mind that. Cole and Wade Barrett. My apologies. Cole and Wade Barrett. Kevin Patrick. No offense, but it's not really cutting it as the commentator there on Raw.
You're done.
Vic Joseph. Bring him to Raw.
Oh, I'd love that. I would love that. I think that's a great idea. That is a bit of wishful thinking. But maybe you putting it out there will manifest it. Maybe that'll happen. I like that. I like that a lot. My next one will be a heartbreaker, but I could see Vince doing it. Think it should be done. Talking about the Street Profits being split via the draft. Oof. Yep. It's going to be a big gut punch. Bum, 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 ba-dum, bum, bum. Dawkins keeps the music. Montez, clean slate. Strap that rocket to his back. Dawkins goes over to SmackDown and joins, where's Alpha Academy? Is Alpha Academy on Raw? Or are they on SmackDown?
They're on Raw.
All right, well, he joins another squad. He joins the Viking Raiders or some shit. That'd be awful. That would make no sense. It
makes zero sense at all. Yeah.
I don't know what Dawkins does, man. He goes and he just becomes a good professional wrestler over there on SmackDown. But Montez, sky's the limit for that guy.
Right to the top. So I think a team is going to break up. I don't have the Street Profits breaking up necessarily, but I have Alpha Academy for sure breaking up.
Oh, that's a shoo-in right there.
Yep. Chad Gable probably going to SmackDown. Otis. Well, at this point, Maximum Male Models was on SmackDown, but they're on Raw all the time.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Whatever. One of them's going to SmackDown. Otis is going over brand Maximum Male Models and so on.
All right. So the Alpha Academy splits up. There you go. Chad Gable can get with Dawkins on the whatever other brand
there you go.
They don't end up on. That'd be a killer team right there.
That would be a good team. Yeah. Although if the Street Profits break up, it would kind of be a bummer for Dawkins just to join another tag team. It'd be cool to see what he could do as a singles competitor as well.
Yeah, I just get worried that he'd get lost in the shuffle. That's my concern, and I don't want that to happen for him, but everybody needs a tag team specialist. Here's a boring one. Bobby Lashley stays on Raw.
Okay.
That's one that I think... That one and Roman to SmackDown are probably my two gimmies. That might win me the I don't know. How many have you done so far? 1, 2,
I've done
3,
5. I've done all 5.
4, and this is my 5th one. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, Bobby Lashley stays on Raw.
All right. I guess I should have said Cody stays on Raw because I think that's pretty sure that's going to happen. But I thought that was too much of a gimme. I was trying to go on the limb a little bit.
Well, I think my first 4 were, Roman to SmackDown's not really on a limb. Yeah, well, I went on a limb 3 times. He went on 4 times, so I win the draft. Yay. Well, we'll find out in a couple. We'll find out in a couple weeks who wins.
Yeah, a week from tomorrow we'll find out.
So 5 NXT call-ups.
Yeah.
Because one of mine here that I didn't use was Grayson Waller to Raw because I think Miz might go to SmackDown.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about this before on Overrun. Waller, Tyler Bate, I think probably.
Mm-hmm.
Zoe Stark,
Ilya, maybe.
Stark might be like the top one. I think Zoe Stark is like the way that she's sort of been written off NXT already. She's heading to main roster.
Probably.
Waller's going to lose this match with Carmelo, so he's going to main roster. There was a report about Ilya. Was there any details about the Ilya stuff?
But Ilya potentially go to SmackDown. That was from PW Insider.
And they were trying to come up with ideas for him to be on SmackDown.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That could be great. I mean, put him wherever Gunther is. What I say.
Exactly.
And
and Bear Winning here says if Indy loses on Tuesday, she could be getting called up 1,000%. Pretty deadly.
If you're Indy, what would you prefer? Remain as NXT Women's Champion with the guarantee that you're going to be champion for 6 months, or lose on Tuesday and get called up in the draft?
You know, the way the women's division is being booked on main roster right now, I might be inclined to stay in NXT for a little bit.
It's really not well booked. The women are unfortunately not well booked on main roster, which is kind of crazy.
Oh, there was a thing today about Cora Jade to be getting called up too.
I could see that. I could see that. I seem to be really high on her. Yeah, if I'm Indy, I'd probably just go for the money because you get a big pay bump if you go to main roster.
Yeah.
Cash in, baby. Nothing's guaranteed in life, man. Nothing's guaranteed in life.
That is true. Speaking of nothing's guaranteed, let's talk about this from SmackDown. We were hoping once Triple H took control of creative, there'd be a lot of long-term storytelling, more logic placed on creative.
Yeah, right.
And then we get this announced out of nowhere. Seth Rollins versus Omos at Backlash.
Yeah.
I'm not opposed to the match. I think it could be fun.
Yeah.
And now there's been a lot of criticism of people, specifically Tony Khan, for booking just random matches on TV shows.
Yeah, sure.
This is a pay-per-view.
Yeah.
I would like to hope there's a story involved for at least pay-per-view matches.
No story.
There's no story.
Yeah, this is kind of crazy. And of course it's easy to jump, and I think it's valid to jump this way to say this is just a Vince thing.
Yeah.
Vince just did this. No story involved. Seth Rollins is right now, and I'll be honest with you, even from going back to WrestleMania, maybe even before that, I don't know, I have to pinpoint the moment that he started being so misused. They have no idea what to do. Probably since I don't know when, but this guy is being so ill-used, like tragically. And and again, this is me being unreasonably and without merit, glass half full. I wonder if they're simply waiting for the draft to be done, new title, fresh, clean slate. Then you can start building to like Money in the Bank or whatever they're going to build to.
Well, here's the thing. Backlash happens after the draft. So if they're waiting for things to shake out with the draft.
Yeah, no, I know.
There's not necessarily any need to announce this match in advance.
I'm saying they're waiting until like Backlash is done. Like this period of time right now, they're going to hit the reset button, but they need to announce something for Backlash. Seth Rollins is going to be there. Look, I'm simply just digging for reasons right now. But you and I have noted that WWE's been on such a creative lull since WrestleMania. And if the idea is, well, the draft is going to be the thing that that realigns the roster in a way that, and at this point, who fucking knows?
Well, that was
Triple H,
yes, that was
Vince,
yes.
Whoever is running things right now. Because it seems like a weird mix of both.
Yeah.
Like, we had a rematch like Solo Sikoa versus Riddle again. Same result. Solo wins. Doesn't really feel like much.
No.
And I know it was a different stipulation match. But so much of this feels like Triple H is being compromised by Vince. But hey, I've said a million times before, booking weekly television in a long-term way is difficult to do.
It is.
Maybe it's just catching up to Triple H, or maybe he's like, hey, I was handed this roster situation. I've made the most of it. I'm just trying to get through to the draft. We saw with WrestleMania, they set those matches up about a month before the show, and they just rode it out for that last month before WrestleMania. Maybe it's a situation where it's like, well, we got this Backlash coming up. We got to put some attraction matches on there. So Seth versus Omos. Sure, why not? We're getting paid for this pay-per-view. Who cares? And then once like that's done, the draft is all shaken out or whatever.
Yeah.
The rosters are realigned. They reset their creative. Maybe that's the situation. Backlash is kind of like they're just getting free money for that, you know?
Yeah.
So it's we'll just put a bunch of, like Rhea Ripley versus Link. This is going to be the easiest predictions challenge we have.
I know.
Because, like, of course Rhea Ripley's going to, there's no ambiguity there.
Yeah, Rhea's going to win. I know. Bad Bunny and Ray are going to win their match, too.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
I think the only toss-up is kind of Brock and Cody, although Cody will probably win, but...
That is a toss-up, though. That is a toss-up. You're right.
Off the top of my head, I can't really think of any other matches that are... Well, I mean, I guess it's possible if it depends what plans they have for Seth and Omos coming out of the draft and coming out of Backlash. Now, are they angling to make Seth Roman's contender for the summer? I think he has to win this match. Or if they want to elevate Omos to title contender, then he's going to beat Seth.
Wow. I don't know that was going to happen. Omos is title contender?
I mean, I don't know.
Let's digest that one. This is a podcast. Yeah. We got an hour.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, here's the thing. It's like Roman has exhausted a lot of his opponents on SmackDown. Now we're going to have a draft. We'll probably have some turnover in the main event scene. So there's, more main event talent over on SmackDown for Roman to feud with.
Yeah.
They just had Omos versus Brock. Mm-hmm. I know Omos didn't win.
That kind of doesn't matter in WWE.
No, it doesn't. Yeah. But Omos at Brock at WrestleMania, that's a huge deal for Omos.
Yeah.
It's a massive deal for Omos.
Yeah.
And I admit, especially if Vince is huge on developing Omos as a main event talent.
Mm-hmm.
He thinks, all right, we'll have him beat Seth here, Backlash, and then start angling him for a Roman program sometime in the fall. Maybe even sooner.
I feel like they can get there without like jobbing out Seth, who might be the next like world champion on some other brand. That being said, no, look, for the sake of conversation, they're either going to do one of two things. Strap a rocket to Omos, have him job out to Roman sooner than later, so we can just get a look at that. The interesting thing is, we have said time and time again that these big giant monsters are impossible to book. Like, look at Braun. It's like they could not figure out how to really get Braun right. Every once in a while, like in 2017, 6 years ago, they had him right. But
yeah, he just went out there and destroyed stuff. It's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, since then, like in terms of, okay, how do you take a guy who is like not really great in the ring, but he just destroys stuff. He's a big monster guy.
Yeah.
How do you justify him not going after the title immediately, right? What if they're doing that with Omos? They're like, we can't justify it. It's a good win for Roman. He doesn't really need the bloodline. We could just do it with the standard ref bump shit, and then make Omos make it look like, oh, he could have beat Roman. But Roman, ends up winning because of ref bump, and maybe he hits him in the nuts or something. Mm-hmm. And then, spear Superman punch. Yeah, that's a possibility. That's absolutely a possibility. I just don't, number one, they don't need to job Seth out to him to do that. And number two, I don't know if they would job Seth out to Omos because it's Seth. Like, they probably got big plans for him. Good Lord.
I mean, I don't know. Only somebody that had major plans for Seth after he dropped 3 matches to Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, maybe it's just, I just think in my head, oh, it's Seth Rollins. Of course they're going to have plans for him. But yeah, sometimes they just don't, huh? That could be. I mean, look what they do with him on the Raw after WrestleMania. Yeah, have him come out.
Nothing.
Come out to his music. And then he just leaves.
They didn't do anything with him Raw after WrestleMania. I mean, he was in a celebrity match at WrestleMania, Steve.
Well, I guess, yeah, I know, but Logan Paul's a big deal.
Still a celebrity.
I don't even know if I mean that or not. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, look, if nothing else, while we're watching what time is Backlash a normal time pay-per-view?
I think so.
Morning. I think Backlash is normal time.
I would think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. If nothing else, we're preparing our audience to not be so shocked if Omos hits that finish of his on Seth and wins. Yeah.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, Miles will jump into the rest of SmackDown. Looking things over here, not a whole lot of developments really.
So there was one really good match. The no DQ match was fine, but it was just redundant. Xavier Woods versus Gunther.
Yeah, that was really good.
The women's tag match was actually really good too. I like that
was
match.
Good too. There's two good matches. Yeah,
Xavier Woods versus Gunther, and it got me thinking. I didn't like it before because it was all three of them, but with Big E seemingly out probably for a while, maybe even permanently, we don't know.
Yeah, we don't know.
Should you try a solo run, like a proper solo run for Xavier Woods? Like split up the idea of the New Day as a tag team and have him go solo? He is so popular. He is so popular. And now might be the time for him to go on a bit of a run.
You know, it's a bummer that the King of the Ring win for Woods doesn't happen this year.
I know. I agree.
With Triple H booking creative and not Vince, because it feels like if that had happened and if Woods had won, then it would have been part of hopefully a plan to push him as a singles competitor.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I'd be all about it if they did a story where Woods is Kofi's out with injury, Big E's out with injury. Who knows if and when he'll ever return?
Yeah.
He takes this as opportunity to pursue, singles success.
Yeah.
See where it takes him.
If Kofi goes to, because Kofi's injured right now too, isn't he?
Yeah, he's got ankle injury. Yeah.
And I don't know if they'd split him up or not, but if the U.S. title, which they're doing nothing with right now,
yeah, what
a great title for Xavier Woods.
Yeah,
that'd be fantastic. Are you kidding me? That'd be amazing. That'd be awesome.
That would be pretty cool.
So that's something I'd like to see. And you get a look at the crowd reaction to Woods, and you see what he does with his up, down, down stuff. And it's like, this guy could be a crossover star. He really could be.
Yeah.
In many ways, I think he is because of the YouTube stuff, and he did the G4 stuff while that was around. But yeah, dude, give him a proper solo run. King, he made so much out of King of the Ring.
Mm-hmm.
Give him the U.S. title, man. Let him run with it. Theory's doing nothing. Boy, Theory's a waste. They're doing nothing with that guy.
Yeah, they're not doing anything with him. Nothing interesting.
They're just using him tonight to motivate. Wait, or is that a Backlash? The triple threat.
Is that Backlash?
That's a Backlash. Yeah, they're just motivating Bronson versus Bobby Lashley. They're just throwing Theory in there because he happens to be the U.S. title guy.
Well, he did drop kick Lashley in the back after he put the Hurt Lock on.
Man, this is a feud between two people, Bobby Lashley and Bronson.
Oh,
Reed,
I'm aware. I'm aware. But it's not.
I know. Well, yeah, you got to get him in somehow. You can't just do it. But but yeah. Otherwise, like they set up the SmackDown Women's Title match for Backlash, and it was just Zelina Vega going in and asking Pierce for the match. I don't know what her record is lately. I mean, I know she was Queen of the Ring, so that's good. She has that.
Yeah, I can't even remember the last time she had a singles match on TV.
Yeah, I know. Hold on, I'm gonna look this up real quick.
All right.
But yeah, they did that. I mean, that's just, I like that a lot for Zelina because I like Zelina Vega.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not sort of the rooted in competition thing necessarily.
Not necessarily, but I thought this was her going to Pierce's office, and her delivery I thought was super heartfelt.
Oh, me too. Yeah,
very genuine, and it seemed like obviously it meant a lot.
It wasn't. I mean, at least it wasn't random. They gave her. They motivated it somehow.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Okay, so her last two solo matches, if you don't count the Royal Rumble. So she lost back in February at Elimination Chamber qualifying Fatal 4-Way.
All right.
Back in January, she lost to Zelina Vega at a house show.
Wait, Zelina Vega lost to herself at a house show?
They raw-gated her. I'm sorry. Candice LeRae beat Zelina Vega at two house shows, one in July, then a month later in August. Bianca Belair.
People here in chat are saying her last singles win was in 2021.
That sounds right. From what I'm looking at, that sounds right. Yeah. But it was a good speech.
It was.
And LWO's in a thing with the Judgment Day right now.
Yes,
so
it makes sense from that perspective.
It makes sense. But maybe, maybe give her a couple matches in the lead up to this.
Where she gets some wins,
just,
yes.
Beat Shotzi, beat Natalia, whatever,
Yeah.
So
no, I agree. I agree.
Bit. Is anybody right now that isn't a champion... Is there anybody like on a solo win streak for the women? This is what we talk about when we're like, the booking of the women is just not very good.
There's not really, especially on SmackDown, a whole lot of singles matches that happen outside the title picture, I don't think.
Yeah, right? Like it's all wrapped up in the tag division.
Yeah.
Otherwise, there's like nobody.
There's like no stories in SmackDown Women's division.
Bianca's number one contender is Io.
Yeah.
And like at least they did have her win a match to motivate that.
Yeah.
But it's not like nobody's like being built up.
Mm-mm.
So I don't know. That kind of stuff really needs to change. Like, come on, put some effort into your shit, dude. Put some effort into your shit.
Totally.
So yeah, we'll go ahead and just start it off with the first match. SmackDown was Finn Balor and Damian Priest from Judgment Day versus Rey Mysterio and Santos Escobar. Priest he's on a good little roll here. He's been winning some matches and stuff, and he hit Santos with a choke slam to get the win in this particular match. Afterwards, Priest got on the mic, says, "This Monday live from Chicago, sold out Raw. The return of Bad Bunny. I hope this visit goes different last time it did for you. Ha 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 ha." He's also getting a lot better on the mic.
He is. I mean, with him, I think it's the less is more approach. You just have him do like a couple sentences, really direct. What you're trying to say, and it's fine.
Yeah, it's good.
He's a good promo, but not everybody's a good promo when they have to talk for 5 or 8 minutes. You know what I mean?
It's rare that anybody could do that.
It's
It
hard.
really is. Nobody can be compelling for 5 minutes, man.
Yeah, I know. That's hard. Then, as mentioned earlier, Zelina walks into Adam Pearce's office. She says, "Next week is the draft. I don't know what the draft has in store for me, and I can't really control where I end up. But I can control is what I do right now. With everything the Judgment Day has been pulling since WrestleMania, I want to challenge Rhea for the SmackDown with title at Backlash." Adam, I know what you're thinking. She's Rhea Bloody Ripley, but with Backlash being hosted by Bad Bunny in Puerto Rico, let me remind you, the only female Puerto Rican on the roster, I have to fight and represent. I've been told my whole life that I'm not good enough because of my height, so I have something to prove. In Puerto Rico, no less. I am ready. So Adam Pearce says, "Well, that'd be a hell of a match. Let me tell you what. Let me talk to upper management. Let me talk to Rhea, and I'll get back to you." And Zelina says, "Let me know what mommy says."
Yeah. So the good and the bad of this had to have been a Vince thing because she mentions her size. Vince is obsessed with height. You know he is.
Yeah.
He's obsessed with height. That being said, this is a pretty good promo.
It was really good.
This is a pretty good moment here. Yeah.
It was really good.
Vince back there. I've been studying up on my Shakespeare. Infusing promos with that. God damn it. God damn it. Bill was pretty good at writing.
I've been spending all my off time watching shows on Broadway.
So after that, what did you think of this Shinsuke Nakamura video package, man? It was filmed really nicely.
It was filmed nicely. They talked about him training
jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. And then how it leads to him being a better striker, but I thought jiu-jitsu was all ground-based stuff. Well, I could be wrong. I don't know much about.
No, I saw Lou mention that on Twitter.
Oh, all right.
And so I who am I to question Lou? And she's probably right. They did when I saw this after she mentioned it.
Yeah.
But they did mention him being able to choke people out.
Yeah, I mean it was better striker because of the jiu-jitsu training, but also submissions as well.
So, hey, look, man, an effort was made. It looked really nice. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, it was shot really well. Yeah.
I thought bizarrely, just as Organ Grinder here in our Twitch chat says, bizarrely, a guy who's usually a pretty decent promo and has a good mystique about him, Karrion Kross, they did a thing too, and it just sort of came across as kind of cheesy. And I honestly think, like months ago when he first came back, they did some things similar to this. But it just goes to show that presentation sometimes is everything, the way you film things, because they filmed it 24 frames before with some different angles. This looks like they set up their standard backstage camera, just put it on sticks and let him talk. And it's not the same.
It almost looked like he was standing in front of a green screen.
Yeah,
I don't think he was, but just based on how it was lit. It
was flatly lit. Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah,
it almost
you're
looked
right.
like he was standing.
It sucks because the environment was cool. They had a fog machine going in the back and some color lights going on. If they had simply dinked around with his lighting a little bit and then maybe gave us like put the camera down a little bit.
Yeah.
Something cool. But yeah, it was just, it's like when you watch a behind the scenes package of somebody's just filming a scene that's being shot. And it's just goofy as hell. But then when you actually watch what they're shooting, it's really good.
You know what the funniest stuff is? You're watching behind the scenes stuff or unfinished scene where it's got a lot of CG. And I can't remember. I think it was one of the Star Wars movies, the most recent trilogy. Yeah. Where there's a scene where they're in some sort of flying contraption, but it's like a speeder or something. And so they're in this thing, and you can tell someone's just down underneath it, wiggling back and forth, and there's no CG or anything. And it looks like the cheapest, worst thing in the world. It looks awful.
Yeah.
Because they're all.
Yeah.
So there's a shaking it side to side to make it look like it's hovering.
Oh, the best, there's some bloopers of Star Trek from back in the day, the Next Generation. And, they didn't have anybody shaking their entire set. So when they get hit with a photon torpedo, they have to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's but when you see it, when it's not being filmed out of context, it's hilarious because they look like idiots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So White Brownie here says Japanese jiu-jitsu focuses on striking. Thank you.
Okay. That's good enough for me. I thought it was pretty cool, man. And when Lou had said that, I was like, oh, this makes that cheesy. But now retroactively, it makes it cooler. So, I mean, look, he's going to beat Cross. It's firmly at this point, Cross he's a depth guy.
Yeah, he's a depth guy at this juncture. Yes, despite making his re-debut in a segment against Roman, he's he's a depth guy. Speaking of Cross, he had a promo after Nakamura's video package. He says, "Identity takes a lifetime to find, another 1,000 lives to know if it's really yours, and then in a matter of 3 seconds, be completely destroyed." Mr. Nakamura, you see those cards? Because Scarlett's there. She got the cards, and they're cutting to when she was turned over the tarot cards. I think last week. And also on those cards is his other former opponents. He says, "I didn't hurt those people. I never hurt anybody a day in my life. It was the cards." How do we really know who we are until someone takes something away from us? For Drew, we took away his temperament. For Riddick Moss, he called him Riddick, we took away his joy. For Ray, we had to take away the man's patience. And now from you, Shinsuke, we are going to take away your honor, TikTok.
I can appreciate that he's sort of retconning having done this to these people, even though he lost to everybody but Moss. He lost to Ray, he lost to Drew.
Yeah, he did.
So I can appreciate that he's saying it's not about the 1, 2, 3. It's about what we did to them. And I appreciate also, he's like, we took away Ray's patience or whatever. And he's whipping Dom on the butt with the belt, which was kind of funny.
Yeah.
Again, I think it's a good concept. It's a good idea. It's just it needed to be filmed a bit more dramatically for it to have a bit more punch to it.
Yeah.
And they just didn't do that.
No, not at all. Not at all.
But no, I mean, I like the idea that he's getting those spiritual wins. Really quick here on the YouTube, we got a couple super chats. Big MGM says, did they say exactly who is doing the drafting?
No.
I guess we can assume that Pierce is simply trying to create best matchups for both brands, which is a bummer.
Yeah, it would be. But maybe they'll announce something tonight that'll change how they go about things. It'd be cool if they changed just how the draft is undertaken.
Mm-hmm, yeah, right.
I don't know how that would play out, but just something different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. That would be cool. I'm always down for them. I like the idea that they would. I just want them to make it seem like it's a real, a sports thing.
It'd be interesting if they had Adam Pearce play the role like Roger Goodell at the NFL draft, where he's just up there announcing the selections. But then there's war rooms for Raw and SmackDown. We can maybe see them. It'd be great if we did.
Yeah, and you can make them really grainy, add a bunch of noise, so it's like, who's that? Who's that?
Yeah,
guy?
but maybe just take some of the producers. If there's producers who work just on Raw and producers who just work on SmackDown, have them be in the war room.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You have Jason
from
Jordan.
The Spirit Squad.
Is he actually a producer?
Isn't he? I swear I've seen him come out. He's super tall. He comes out and he breaks up shit.
You got Jason Jordan on Raw.
Helms.
I think he's on Raw. You got Jamie Noble on SmackDown, I think.
Oh, Abyss. Yeah, Abyss.
Abyss, yeah. Joseph Park, yes.
All right, Griffin.
Michael Hayes.
Okay. He's like pulling like draft picks out of his gimmick bag, out of his
his fanny pack. Yeah.
High Plains Drifter has a super chat. Also says that's a very anti-horny idea. That was a little while ago. I don't know what idea.
I don't know what that's in reference to.
Oh man. All
right, Kenny is a producer. Okay, I don't know if he's still there.
Yeah. Oh, they're talking about Wong here says Big Bang Theory with no laugh track, like what we were talking about with like stuff is goofy without certain context. Yeah.
Yes. So next match was Ricochet and Braun taking on the Viking Raiders. Viking Raiders have attacked Braun and Ricochet a lot, so Braun and Ricochet get the win here.
The Depth Raiders, the Viking Raiders, depth guys.
Yeah, what?
Depth guys. Viking
Raiders. Yes, depth guys, yes. But they weren't re-signed by Triple H. They were still there.
That's right. They totally come off as depth guys, though.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, Ricochet hits a swanton off of Braun's shoulders onto Ivar to get the win. Valhalla tried to interfere, or at least she yelled at Ricochet, I think, at one point.
Yeah.
And but was all for naught. Viking Raiders lost.
Yep. Sorry, Valhalla. After that, we had an interview with Raquel and Liv. Liv is very excited. She said, if they want to see Messi, I'll show them Messi. I'll be the messiest person they've ever seen. And then Raquel's like, okay, relax. Save it for the ring. And then Liv says, watch us.
Watch us.
Watch me. Watch me. Then we had that match. They gave this match tons of time. We had a little promo beforehand. Sony said, when we grace you with our presence, you sit down, you shut your mouths, and you show us some respect. Crowd goes, boo. Chelsea says, that's no way to treat your future women's tag team champs. So now, Sonya, how can we possibly expect these normies to understand what it's like to wake up every single morning winning? And then Sonya says, speaking of winning, should we give them a little repeat of what they saw on Raw? And furthermore, show why we're winners and you're losers? Chelsea says, doesn't Liv look a little thirsty? She acts like she's going to, and then she acts like she's going to squirt Liv with some water bottle, which makes a play in the finish. Which I liked because they gave them a taste of their own medicine. Usually baby faces don't do like the cheating kind of stuff.
Oh, it wasn't just the water either. It was Raquel adding the extra leverage for the pin.
It was pretty awesome. I know. It was great. You know, because like Liv douses Chelsea with some water and then she goes for the roll-up pin. And then Raquel, she gets up there and she holds onto the rope and she props her up on the backside with her feet. It was, I like that stuff, man. I like that.
I mean, if nothing else, that's a way for this feud to continue after this bout because then Chelsea and Sonya rightly could say, well, you cheated to beat us. You couldn't beat us fair and square, so we're going to have another match.
Mm-hmm, yeah. Oh, wow. Looking at this right now. Jeff just sent me this. Pennsylvania State Police issue arrest warrant for Bam Margera. Bam Margera is on the run. What a mess. Anyways, after that...
Oh, we had this Matt Riddle interview where I think he's trying to be intense, but he came off as bored.
Yeah.
So he's asked, you're facing Solo tonight. You know, what are you going to do different? I think it's like, what are you going to do different? Or like, why are you going to step into the ring in a no DQ match after you already lost on Raw? And he goes, why? Why not? I know Sammy and Kevin aren't here. It's another reason not to do it, Matt. But they're getting ready for the biggest match of their careers, and they're both stallions. I look at them like step bros, and the last time I got in the ring with Solo, he beat me and left me buried under a table. And tonight in our no DQ match, he's going to be the one buried under the table, bro. But that was like the extent of his energy level. It was just that.
You think he's just sort of confused because like Triple H is like, listen, we need to make you not an idiot. So dial back the idiot stuff. And he's like, but that's my whole shtick.
That's who I am.
He's like, yeah, listen, everybody likes a badass. So just be a badass. And he's like, all right, so how do I do that? You know, talk slow and like you're bored. All right, dude.
All right, I could do that. And then he does it. Like, well, you just seem like you're bored there, Matt Riddle.
Yeah, right. I don't know. It's like, hey, bro, he brought me back as a depth guy.
Now, if anybody loses more than 2 matches consecutively, depth guys.
They're depth guys. Yeah, exactly. They're depth people now. Depth people. So after that, we had a terrific Xavier Woods versus Gunther Intercontinental Championship match. This is like the one match the crowd was really into. I mean, they were into the main event too, but they really came alive for this match.
Oh yeah,
and it was really terrific, man. Gunther went for a power bomb, but Xavier Woods was able to to escape that, planted Gunther on his face, followed with a quick crucifix bomb, got 2, hits a kick, rolls up Gunther. Gunther kicks out, and then Gunther just whoop-ah, hits a sleeper on Woods. Woods tries to fight out of it, but Gunther slaps it right back on. It was really messy, but really cool.
Yeah.
And then he just cranked it back, and Woods was out. He was just passed out. Gunther got the win here.
Yeah, it was spectacular. It was a really fun bout, and hopefully, we see more of Xavier Woods going after single success in the coming months. Then we had Usos promo. Jay starts out, says, "Ohio, the bloodline is now in your city." Jimmy says, "And they've been asking us ever since WrestleMania." Usos, dude, how have you guys been feeling since your loss at WrestleMania? And Jay says, "We don't know." Jimmy continues, "You don't know, dude? Are you guys sad, dude?" He's just making fun of Matt Riddle here. Mm-hmm. Jay says, "We don't know." Again, Jimmy adds, "Are you guys mad, dude?" And Jay again says, "We don't know." And Jimmy says, "Well, what do you plan to do, dude?" And Jay responds, "We're going to do what we always do, complete the mission and bring back gold. We don't look behind us. We're looking straight at you." They're like, "What's next for the Usos?" "Well, I'm going to tell you what's next. Big 6-man coming up at Backlash." And Jimmy says, "More importantly, big rematch next week." Jay says, "A WrestleMania event, a main event kind of rematch. This is that 9-time champ coming soon kind of rematch. This is to call your mama and tell her the Usos are on TV kind of rematch. We're going to dedicate that win, that victory to Roman Reigns kind of rematch." And Jimmy says, "Next week, 9 times it is. Next week, the gold is coming back to Bloodline. Next week, Sammy and KO will get bodied, just like Matt Riddle is about to get bodied by the enforcer of the Bloodline, Solo Sikoa." And that match was next. Solo taking on Matt Riddle.
So given what we've seen on this past episode of SmackDown, this promo, Riddle getting killed again by Solo Sikoa, what are now your updated odds on the Usos winning those tag titles back next week? Draft episode, or this week. I'm sorry, this week. Draft
Friday.
episode,
Yeah, it's on Friday.
Big deal thing.
I mean, if it wasn't for the Saudi show coming up at the end of May, I'd be like, their odds are pretty minimal because Sammy and Kevin just won those belts. But if they want those titles defended, the tag titles defended at a Night of Champions, they got to change hands beforehand.
Yeah, I don't think to me, it doesn't seem like it plays too heavy into it because not all the championships are going to be on the line at Night of Champions. And they're really hyping up this match as the match for the tag titles.
The rematch, yes.
Right. But man, I don't know. Again, it's one of those things where it's like maybe Vince, hell, even maybe Paul Heyman and Triple H and them. They're like, well, we sort of milked as much as we can out of Kevin and Sammy, which I don't agree with.
Status quo, yeah.
But maybe they're going to put it back to, we had our big WrestleMania moment.
Yeah.
Back to the status quo.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Because it might be a situation where the Usos need Solo to, because everything now is about how essential Solo is to the success of the Bloodline.
Right, yeah.
Like without Solo, the Bloodline literally falls apart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right, yeah.
That's the status they're in right now. So if it's a situation where Solo literally wins the titles for the Usos, it plays into that story. That's the only reason I can see them putting the belts from a storyline perspective back on the Usos.
Yeah, and not that this means one thing or another, but at least on the SmackDown side of things, I don't know if they're going to like soft split the belts again like they did sort of, a couple months ago.
Yeah.
But you got Braun and Ricochet, a face tag team, looking to go after those tag titles The Bloodline are bad guys.
That's true.
Might be the thing. So, yeah, I don't know, man. At this point, I'd probably go as high as like 40% the Usos get those titles back.
Yeah, that sounds fair.
Solo Sikoa versus Matt Riddle was the main event. No DQ match. So we had Kendo 6. He did, in fact, bury Solo Sikoa under the table. However, didn't last long. He had to go deal with the Usos, and then Solo Sikoa's like,
yeah.
Dun, 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 dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, he came out of it. And I like the finish, too, because he goes for a spike. Riddle's able to counter with like a V-trigger. And then instead, I guess it was like a lariat version of the spike.
Yeah.
Because he pinned him with it, and even Michael Cole was like, "Oh, he hits him with a lariat." Wait, was that like a running version of the spike? And he got the pin, so it seemed like that was the deal.
Yeah, because Riddle's run the ropes, and then Solo sticks his arm out, and based on the camera angle, it just looked like a clothesline. But He had his thumb sticking out there.
It was the wrapped one too. So
my favorite part though was when Solo was trying to bury Riddle under the announce table again, and Riddle apparently has super strong legs.
Yeah.
Doesn't skip leg day because he was just using his legs to keep the table from tipping over on him.
Well, he had his back up against the barricade too, kind of.
It was just a funny visual.
It was funny because like he wasn't like he was barely long enough to make that kind of work.
His legs were fully extended. You could tell he was not exerting himself whatsoever. That's what made
the
it
thing.
Funny.
You're right. You're exactly right.
Because it wasn't like he had his knees kind of tucked up close to his chest, trying, straining to push.
Right, yeah, exactly, yeah.
Legs stretched out with his toes just barely touching the table, looking super chill and relaxed.
It's like your legs would bend. Like Solo would be able to get some of that going.
Yeah.
It did. It looked hella funny, dude. Yeah. Especially when Riddle continually wearing those little tiny chonies he's got on.
Yeah, I know. That's going to take a while to get used to.
It will, yeah. So anyways, yeah, Solo gets the win here with that, I guess the spike or variation of it. And then afterwards, the Usos put him through a table, a 1D through the table, and they all stand tall. They're the ones.
They're the ones. Well, I mean, Riddle can't challenge Roman again, I don't believe, for the titles. So,
because of why?
I think that was a stipulation to get a match at one point, wasn't it?
Oh, okay. I don't know, maybe. I know Brock can't.
Yeah, I thought Riddle was barred from getting a title opportunity too, but I could be wrong.
That's possible.
That happened last summer, I think.
I don't really want to see him fight Roman again.
No, I don't either.
I want your Moss situation.
Hopefully that'll play out. I mean, it takes him beating Seth, but
here's the thing: you want to turn the WWE universe into Homo sapiens, however it's pronounced now. Do that match. They'll be so firmly on board Amos.
Mm-hmm.
Be kind of great.
Yeah.
Oh, Nikyle says that it was a stipulation on SmackDown last
week. Yeah. Okay.
Dude, bro.
All right, we had a Rampage 2. I mean, the main event was really good.
Jalisco versus.
I don't know how Vikingo. I don't know how Vikingo does a spot where he does a suicide dive, flips in midair, and lands on his back on the ramp and gets up.
Yeah, I know that was pretty crazy. Yeah,
that sucked. People are saying that Kenny versus Vikingo was announced for Triple Mania, the next Triple Mania.
It's in June, right?
Oh, was it in June this year,
or is it August?
It was August last year,
and then October again, right?
That's what it was last year. So I assumed it was this year.
I think you're probably right about that.
No, July 15th.
We're both wrong.
Yeah, then August is the third one. Okay.
Oh, it's July and August? Okay.
April, July, and August this year. Yeah.
Right, that's cool. No, that's going to be a great match. That's going to be awesome. That was good. And, of course, anything involving Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal is good. That match, that was good stuff there. I like that Jeff Jarrett hit his stroke on one of the Trustbusters / Varsity Athletes.
Tony Nese.
It was Tony Nese? Okay.
Yeah.
And it was while him and Dax were arguing. And then he's like, here, you're legal. Go ahead and pin him. And Dax did. And it took him a little while, but that stroke is powerful.
Still is.
It got the win for him.
Yep.
No, I like that. That was good, man.
That was good. Show opened up with Mox taking on Christopher Daniels. Commentary is really pushing the idea that Blackpool Combat Club is just going after anybody, even if they're remotely, tangentially affiliated with the Elite. They're like, yeah, Christopher Daniels, he was on BETE. They were like friends or something. They were trying to justify some rationale to motivate this match.
Mm-hmm.
It was a fine match and all. But.
Yeah. No, it was fine. Christopher Daniels is Christopher Daniels.
Yeah,
he's the higher power. But yeah, no. So Mox got the win here. Mox offers Daniels his hand. Daniels shakes it, and Mox leaves through the crowd. But that friendship, that spirit of competition, didn't last very long. Yeah,
short-lived. Then we got a Jade Cargill interview. Lexi says, Jade, you asked for this time. What do you want to say? And Jade just says, not now. Mark, floor is yours. So Mark Sterling says, it was announced this week, finally, Jade Cargill against Taya Valkyrie next week for the TBS title. We're finally going to get rid of Taya, but it's a great week for #Jade Brand because the contract puts some wording in. Taya cannot use Jaded or Road to Valhalla in this match, and if she does, she will be DQ'd. We are excited for this match. That is all we wanted to say.
Yeah. All right. right. Wonder how it's gonna work out.
Jade Cargill Jade's gonna win so.
Again. Exactly. Yeah. Oh, Maggie says, I think this is it. I think it's when Jade loses. Is that serious, Maggie? Or are you clowning around right now? I'm kind of curious. I don't think Ty's gonna be the one. Then we had a Hook, Hardy's, and Isaiah Cassidy promo. She says she's serious. All right. Isaiah says, if you're ready to hear from Jeff Hardy, can I get an oh yeah? And the crowd says, yeah, okay. And then he passes the mic to Jeff, and then Jeff does this weird shit where he says, hey, everybody, it's super cool to be back in this elite world. 9 months ago, I didn't think this was possible. I've worked so hard to reach this moment right now. I'm trying really hard to love myself again. Oh, man. And with that being said, I think the smartest thing for me to do is retire. And everybody was sort of confused and like, wait, what? Did he just say what? And then he says, from screwing up. Oh, man. Like, the weight of what he did really deserves something a bit heavier than a little gag like that, I think.
Yeah.
But, hopefully he just stays out of cars, man. He says, I'm here in AEW to end my career on an extremely high note instead of a depressing low. I love each and every one of you. We'll see and time will tell. The future is waiting for us to prevail. And then he hands the mic to Matt. And he says, now let's talk about the firm deletion.
Yeah. And then Stokely shows up on the Tron, says, Jeff Hardy, how the hell are you? Do you want to know how I am? I'm pissed to the highest level of pistivity because all week long I've been emailing you, been calling you, I've paged you, I even sent you a fax and no details of this dumbass match. But you can't respond because you're too busy at the house with the wife and kids, and he's doing this. He says, so Matt, give me the answer. And Matt says, that's dreadful etiquette, Stoke. I'm a good man. You don't need an answer. Or he says, I'm good, man. You don't need an answer. I'll let you know when the time is right. Stokely says, it's all good, Matt. I've been working hard to be a better man, so I'm going to have some patience. Don't worry about it. God bless. And as soon as he finishes, Big Bill, Ethan Page, Lee Moriarty attack the Hardys, Cassidy, and Hook. And then Page hits Cassidy with a huge ego's edge, and then the Hardys chase the firm up the ramp with some chairs.
I like that Stokely came back up on the Tron, was like, oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
It was pretty funny.
Yeah.
After that, we had a Keith Lee and Dustin Rhodes promo, and Lee says, I was almost out, and then someone dragged me back in. So, Keith, how do you feel about your match with Chris Jericho? I can say I've earned a modicum of respect, but I'm certain I would have had beat him if not for the interjection. Dustin says, we're back, and this is the greatest duo since John Travolta and Samuel L. Jackson in Pulp Fiction, and guess what? Next week, I thought he was going to say we're going to go medieval on you or use a Pulp Fiction line.
I thought so too. Yeah.
Say I'm a bad motherfucker, something like that. I don't know. But
I thought so too. Some reference to Pulp Fiction. Yeah.
He said next week on Rampage, Naturally Limitless descends on Florida. It's like, come on, man. Pulp Fiction has like a ton of like quotable quotes.
I know. Not a single
be like
one
a shot of adrenaline to your heart. Right, something,
bring a shot of adrenaline to the heart of Florida. Yeah,
right. Yeah,
that's all good stuff.
No,
he didn't
say reference like that. Come on,
nope.
Man, follow through.
I know. Then we got Julia Hart versus Kiera Hogan. Julia Hart's entrance theme is really good.
Yeah, it's really cool. I know. Yeah,
and she knows how to find the camera when she's in the middle of stuff.
Mm-hmm. That'll always go. Yeah, that's what Britt Baker learned, man. Look at how it served her.
Yep, find the camera.
Remember she lost that match and became like the bigger star of it?
Yeah, no.
I know.
Yeah. Julia gets the win here via Heartless, her submission move. So Kira taps. Then Anna Jay runs to the ring. They start fighting. Eventually the rest come in to break it up. Isn't Julia and Anna Jay, they're both heels though. Yeah?
Yeah, but they're different kind of heels. I don't know. Like House of Black... Are they bad guys? They're just really cool. I don't think anybody boos them.
No, nobody boos them because the whole presentation is awesome. But within the story world of AEW, I feel like they're heels.
Yeah, I think in this case they're like so different though. Like who do you think the crowd's gonna? Who's supposed to be? Is your point? Who's supposed to be cheering for who?
Yeah,
that's a good point. But I think, I think there's, just let the people decide, I guess, man.
All right, very well.
Yeah, people like the House of Black. I think people are people going to be cheering Julia. Is that what the deal is?
Yeah, they'll probably cheer Julia.
I think so, right? She does cool stuff. She like spits on misses people and stuff.
Yeah, she misses people. Her theme's really good.
You got a good theme. Yeah, her crew is cool. After that, we had Christopher Daniels interview. He's in the locker room, and he's like, "I'm not here just for respect. I'm here for victory. I'm here for championships, and I have to go through men like John Moxley again." And then Claudio steps in, and Wheeler's there, and Daniels says, "He's like, all right, let's do this." Puts in his old timey Duke. He's like, "Come on, let's do this." And then Mox says, like, "Hey, come on, it's good. CD is cool, man. He's an OG. He's cool." And Daniel's like, "Oh, I guess people were wrong about you. You've got a little honor left in you." Oh, Mox didn't like that. No. Starts to walk away. He goes, "Whoop-ha." Rams his head into the locker a bunch of times. And Mox says, "We never changed. It was everybody else who's out of their damn minds." I don't know, Mox. I feel like you've had an attitude adjustment.
It does seem like he's had an attitude change, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. And he stopped bleeding during matches, and everybody loves that. And he stopped doing something that everybody loves.
That makes you a heel.
That makes you bad guy.
That means you've changed, Mox. Anyways, next we had Jeff Jarrett, Jay Lethal, and FTR taking on this weird Trustbusters varsity athletes amalgam they put out there for matches.
Yeah.
And Mark Briscoe was watching backstage. There was a couple moments during this match where there was some miscommunication between FTR, Lethal, and Jarrett.
Oh, yeah. They were like running into each other and shit. It was hilarious.
Although they did the Fargo strut, all four of them together. So I guess that kind of makes up for it. So eventually, Mark Sterling, who's out there representing Trustbusters varsity athletes, gets on the apron. Dax beels him into the ring. And so Sterling gets up. He's like, "Don't punch me." He backs into Jarrett. And so he turns around. And then Dax, holds him up so Jarrett could punch him. Mm-hmm. So Jarrett takes a swing at Mark Sterling. Mark Sterling evades. So then Jeff Jarrett hits Dax. Mm-hmm. Tony Nese rolls up Dax. And Jeff Jarrett makes no effort to break it up. He just watches.
Yeah.
Dax kicks out. So Dax gets right in Jeff Jarrett's face and pushes him. Well, Jarrett pushes him back. Well, Tony Nese charges from behind. Jarrett pushes Dax out of the way, hits Nese with the stroke, and says, "Cover him. It's yours."
Yeah.
So Dax covers him, get the win. And as soon as the match is over, FTR, Lethal, and Jarrett, they're just all arguing and shoving each other. And then Mark Briscoe runs down the ring to try to keep the peace.
Yeah. Yeah. This really needs to end with Jarrett and Jay Lethal winning those tag titles. I'd be really happy about that. That'd be awesome.
I wouldn't argue.
Yeah, man. After that, we had an Orange Cassidy video package, and he's going to be facing Bandito for the international title. That should be
That'll be good.
Yeah.
Really
then we
good.
had a video package for the main event, and then we had a Butcher and Blade. "Let me tell you something, brother" promo.
Well, we heard the Butcher talking like his normal voice.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And it was the Blade that was all pro wrestling voice.
Yeah. Yeah, it's sort of off a little bit. They're mixing it up a little bit.
I guess so.
They claim because that's the match. It's those two against Omega and Takeshita on the Dynamite, I think, right?
Yeah. Did you see the bid from Being the Elite this week where they give Takeshita an Elite shirt?
And no. What happened?
Matt and Nick are all like, "Hey, thank you so much for helping us out." And Don Callis is like, "See, this is why I was recruiting Takeshita for a moment like this." And the whole time, Kenny's just on his phone, completely disinterested.
Right, yeah.
And so then Matt says to Kenny, he's like, "Hey, can you tell Takeshita, thanks, we really appreciate all your help." The idea that he would translate and say in Japanese. And so Kenny just kind of barely looks up from his phone and goes, "Oh, yeah, he wants to tell you thank you." And so Matt says, "All right, Nakazawa, can you tell him?" Mm-hmm. And then Nakazawa just says, he just wants to say thank you. He appreciates the help.
Yeah, nobody's translating.
Nobody's translating, no. And the whole time Takeshi's like, "Oh, yeah, you're welcome."
Yeah, right. That's pretty funny. That was a pretty funny bit. Then we had Dralistico versus El Hijo del Vikingo. This was awesome. Really between good. Vikingo just eating it on his back, or that fucking apron destroyer bit. Oh, my God. This shit is so good. This is so awesome.
This is fantastic. And LFI got involved at one point. Ref ejects them from ringside. The finish saw Dralistico hit Vikingo with a Hurricane Rana to the floor, puts him in the ring, locks on a Fujiwara armbar. Vikingo gets the bottom rope, and Dralistico does like the Chris Jericho thing where he thinks he's won. Mm-hmm. And then he argues with the ref. Then Vikingo hits Dralistico with a spinning kick. Double knees in the corner and a 630 to get the W. Then afterwards, LFI hit the ring and they attack Vikingo. I wonder if we're going to get Roosh versus Vikingo at some point.
Ooh. I hope so, man. The more Vikingo on my television, the happier I'll be. He's getting good pops from the crowd, too. Crowd really appreciates this guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's awesome. Be great if he goes to WWE. So let's go ahead and
if he keeps doing those suicide dive spots where he hits nothing but floor, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I know. No kidding. Got to dial back a little bit. All right, so we've got a couple of question threads, one on the Patreon, one on the YouTube, and you can ask questions here on the show as well. All you got to do is click that join button on YouTube or head to Patreon, patreon.com/Steve and Larson, and we have our recap question threads there. You can also enjoy our bonus episodes over on every single Friday. And then, of course, it's heating up. We got the May Predictions Challenge going down starting in about a week.
Yep.
Oh, man. First up, Backlash. Who can get the point advantage at Backlash?
We got to think of some creative prop bets because, as mentioned,
definitely need some, yeah.
It's going to be a lot of matches that seem pretty predictable.
Yeah, pretty much. So that's going down in May. And then, of course, towards the end of May, we've got that big, heavy weekend of action. We've got Night of Champions. Is there an AEW? What's AEW? Oh,
yeah, Double or Nothing. And then there's also NXT Battleground that weekend.
And then Battleground that weekend. So we've got we're going to be crowning a new, or the Enforcer will retain his Big Red Predictions Championship. We've only had 3 champions. Nobody's retained yet. We've had Moses Opposis win the inaugural. We've had Angelic Wolf. And then, of course, the Enforcer picked it up during WrestleMania weekend. So maybe you can become the new predictions. Well, theoretically you can. I prefer not.
Yeah, I'm
though.
involved. Yeah.
But we had 169 or 64.
164, I believe.
164 people. I want to get to 200 friendos participating in the Big Predictions Challenge for May. So be sure to sign up. $5 and up on the Patreon at patreon.com/Stephen Larson, or of course click join on the YouTube.
Yes. Speaking of YouTube, if you're here, if you're watching live VOD, we got Triple H coming up. He always likes it when we got 200 likes before he calls.
The game loves those
really
likes.
Helps his mood.
So hit that like button.
Hit that like button, please. Did you mention our latest My GM video is up for Extreme Rules?
Our latest My GM is up today. It's our first pay-per-view, Extreme Rules. Oh, this is a good episode. This is one of the better episodes we've done.
Results not good.
Results great.
My drama curve was perfect, Steve.
And the Enforcer joined us as well.
Yes, and that was awesome.
Which is awesome. The Rob Zerver edited it, so thank you, Rob, for that. Coming up this week also on Friendo Club Wrestling, our sister channel. We booked this out on Overrun.
We got our WWE mock draft coming up this week. There's
it is.
We scheduled as of Friday.
Mock draft is tomorrow.
Then we're doing a fast food draft at some point this week too.
We have to film that tomorrow afternoon.
All right.
Thursday.
Tier rank, right? Smackdown themes that we're still doing.
Yeah, tier ranking Smackdown on Thursday, and then Friday. If we do a Smash Zone this week, then we'll put something up on Friday for that. So we got a good week this week.
Yes, we've actually programmed it out.
We'll put some clips up as well.
Something like that, yes.
Wong here on YouTube says, do you think the draft will be a thing where everybody is de-rostered and needs to be drafted? Yeah, I think that's what's going to happen. Like, I think they're going to go through the entire roster and draft everybody. Yeah. And if they need to take up some time on TV, they'll do that as well.
Yeah, yeah. Alistair Drake here with the question on the Patreon says, what do you guys think about Tony Khan's special announcements? I think it's getting overused. So during Rampage, they said that we're going to hear from Tony Khan. No promise of a huge announcement.
Yeah.
I wonder if he's going to address the title picture, perhaps. MJF 4 Pillars thing.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know what else it would be.
Yeah. I don't know. It's gonna be underwhelming. Alex says, "What draft moment is your all-time favorite in the history of the draft?"
It's not the actual draft episode. It's the week following when superstars parted so Finn Balor could step forward.
Yeah, that was a big deal. That was awesome. I agree with that one. I was gonna say Finn Balor also. Let's see here. Zyshawn Moore says, what brand do you think would fit? Yeah, LA Knight. Oh, it's SmackDown. You got to put him in front of the biggest audience.
Yes. Yep, you do.
I wouldn't be mad if they sent him to Raw, though. Because you got 3 hours there, more time to use him.
Yeah. Be the centerpiece of Raw.
Give him a talk show.
Heck yeah.
That'd be sick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You bring back the yeah button. He had an impact.
The dummy button? Yeah.
Or the dummy button.
Yeah. Dummy, yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Steve Somewhere here asks, if a handful of NXT call-ups happen in the draft, would it make sense to send 2 or 3 wrestlers from main roster to NXT?
No, because NXT has the draft pool. That's where you pull from. You don't send people there. No. They get people already from like colleges and stuff. Free agency.
Yeah, don't send people down to NXT in the draft. No,
it's a one-way deal. They go, they leave.
Luis, what have been some of the worst all-time draft moves in history when they broke up the New Day?
That was bad.
During the draft.
I think was it Triple H or Cena where like somebody got drafted and they got drafted back in the same draft?
It was Triple H got drafted and in the same night he got traded to the other brand.
That was stupid.
Yeah.
That was dumb.
It's because they messed up and they realized, there's too many people on this brand, so they had to do a trade in the middle of the show.
They didn't think in advance is the problem. That happened to Cena, though, right? People are saying Cena also. Okay.
All right. I mean, it's 2 different incidents.
That's stupid, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Alex Foster here says, you guys always talk about Montez being a huge star, but what about Dawkins? What would his path be if the Profits broke up?
Look, I like Dawkins. I think he's great. All right. But sometimes you see somebody who just has it, who's got everything that screams main eventer, and that's Montez Ford. Dawkins, I don't know. I'd have to see it. I can see Montez in like doing something bigger. Dawkins, I need to see it. I'm sure that it's there. I think it'd be cool. I want to see it, but I don't see it. I sometimes you need to see it first.
Okay. I mean, I think Dawkins has all the potential. I mean, he's a fun wrestler in the ring. He puts on good matches. We've seen him put on some good singles matches.
Yeah. He's
got a ton of charisma. And maybe it just takes a different character for all those things to kind of come together.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? Mayor Planet Houston says, you've done a good job booking a story for Von Wagner. Now book a story for the match between Seth and Amos.
Oh, man. How about Seth just gets caught? Let's say Amos wins. Seth gets caught. Amos is in the ring. Seth is doing his whoa. He's like leading the chorus of fans chanting his song. And then he just turns around into that big finishing move of Amos and kick out of it.
Okay.
That's what I would do.
All right. Well, something. It's better than nothing what they have right now.
I mean, I just booked the match. I don't know. There's, I don't know about a story. A story like in advance of it? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Young Book says, if you could trade one AEW wrestler and one WWE wrestler to the other company, who would you choose and why? 1 for 1.
Ricky Starks goes to WWE.
Okay.
For AJ Styles.
Oof. I don't like that.
No,
you need Ricky Starks and like cash considerations or something. A couple draft picks or whatever. I don't think it's a 1 for 1. Like Kenny and AJ is a 1 for 1.
All right.
That's a 1 for 1. I would do that.
Okay.
Trade Kenny and AJ. Hulkster Bulge says, I like NXT Riddle, but why is WWE shoving Riddle down everybody's throat? He was really over at one point.
He was really over.
He was super over.
He was. When it was him and Orton. He was really over.
That's all done, though.
Yeah, I know. Edward Munoz says, Steve Larson, you wake up, you're going to start your day with some McGriddles and Del Taco. You open up Twitter, QT Marshall and Dax Harwood are calling you out and maybe you want a tag team match at Forbidden Door. What do?
What does one have to do with the other?
I don't know.
I want to start my day while I just eat my McGriddle.
Oh, sorry. He says, because of Steve's pipe bomb.
Oh.
I mean, you were talking some trash about QT.
Yeah, I don't like seeing it on my TV. I'd say no. Yeah, I do what QT should do and say no. Nobody wants to see me wrestle. Nobody wants to see you wrestle either.
There you
go.
That's
what I would do. I would lead by example. I'd say, I'm not going to take this match because nobody wants to see me wrestle. You should do the same.
All right, there you go.
Fuzzy says, at current, Seth Moore used to WWE as a guy to help get talent over. Oh, Seth is used more in WWE as a guy to help get talent over more than he is being their top champion. This Amos matchup is strange. This isn't a question. I should have vetted this comment beforehand. But I kind of agree. Yeah, they're sort of using Seth more. Not even to get other people over, though, really.
Mm-mm.
So, I don't know, man.
Unless that other person's named Cody Rhodes.
Yeah.
Mochi here asks, what's your favorite current finisher names?
Okay. What is...
I mean, End of Days is still a cool finisher name.
That is a cool finisher name. What are some... what are some finishers? I'm trying to think of some that actually have, names.
Yeah.
Powerbomb is a classically amazing name.
Yeah. But
I want something
not exclusively
newer.
a finisher.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Hey, what's the origin of the name F5?
It's a tornado thing, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, Brock from
Because he
Midwest.
sort of spins him a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I remember seeing Twister. Was that a Twister thing?
Oh, from the movie Twister? I've never seen Twister, so I don't know.
Really? You didn't go see it in the theaters when it came out?
No interest. What do tornadoes bring, Steve?
It's concentrated wind.
Yes.
Right, but you don't have to experience it. You just go watch it.
I see the cow get stuck in the tornado. I'm like, oh, that poor cow.
So you know that part.
Yeah.
That was all you needed to see.
Yeah. Organ Grinder says Rainmaker. That is a great name for a movie.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kinshasa. Jeremy has the best name for a finisher that sucks. The Skull Crushing Finale. Great name, terrible
finish.
finish.
That's a good name. Yeah, it's a good name.
Oh, that's a good name.
The Stroke is the best name for a finisher.
Oh, man. Man, oh, man. Might as well just call it the Crank It in the Bathroom.
Oh,
or you
my
can call
goodness.
it the Stroke.
Edward here says Shatter Machine. That's a good name for a finish.
Shatter Machine's a great name for a finish.
That was good.
Big Rig. That's a good one. I don't like the 1D.
One and done?
Yeah, I know. I don't like it. Destino is great. That's good. Yeah.
Airplane of Houston says Starship Pain.
That is actually probably the best name for a finishing move. Yeah. Fuzzy here on YouTube says, apologies, I did butcher my question. Fuzzy, was it 3 a.m. when you wrote that question? Because you're chatting normal here in YouTube.
Yeah. JR Jr. here says, pitch an idea for a network character like ECW had for TNN that would mess up this draft.
Oh, wait a second. Destination Hellhole.
That's Steve's favorite.
Great name. And I love that finish. It's so messed up.
Yeah, it is good.
Pitch a character that does what?
Like the network character for ECW when it was on TNN.
Wasn't that Don Callis? Okay. So, I don't know. It'd be Frank Ledger.
Okay.
It'd be Frank Ledger. They hired me. I'm from the accounting firm of Ledger & Ledger.
He just wants to audit everything.
Yeah. We have to make sure this draft is conducted in good faith.
Yeah.
Let me be frank.
Purpose.
It's not.
Or protocol, yeah.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
That's
all right. You ready to talk to the game, Triple H?
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that for a moment. Sure. I guess so.
Are you ready to do this? Which would you prefer, the game or Dick Slavitt? Because Dick Slavitt, for some reason, is trying to zoom in right now. He's hitting that zoom button.
I don't want to talk to Dick Slavitt.
Why not? It's not JR. You know it's not JR.
Might as well be.
Okay. All right, here we go. We're going to talk to the game, Triple H here.
All right.
Hello, hi. This is the game, Triple H. Are you ready to wrestle the champ?
Oh, did you have that too? That microphone?
Yeah. I used to troll Kevin Nash with it because he was my friend in the clique, and they had that little WCW microphone, and it was you hit Kevin Nash's face and it says, "Are you ready to wrestle the champ?" And then there was also one with Goldberg out of me to hit Goldberg, and it was Kevin's voice. He says, "Hey, I'm Goldberg," but it's obviously Kevin Nash.
Who's next?
Who's next? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you remember. He said, "Who's next?"
Yeah, it just sounded like Kevin Nash, though. Yeah,
I remember that. Yeah. So, anyways, let's see what Dad has scheduled for Raw tonight.
Hold on, Dad.
Yeah, it's totally just Vince, man.
Oh,
here's the he's just texting me what he wants, and then he's requiring that I say it was me. You think I want endless rematches? We all know Solo could beat up Matt Riddle.
Yeah, we've seen it already.
Yeah.
And then we saw it again.
Then we saw it again. Yeah, I'd move on. You got to move on from this shit. Seth Rollins versus Amos. Look, I'm as much of an Amos sapien as anybody else. Or Homo sapien, whatever you're supposed to call it. Just trying not to get canceled here. And I like him, that guy, as much as anybody else. But like, what is the match? What is the story? There's no story.
Exactly.
Character.
That's what we asked. I'm excited for the match, but where's the story?
I'm not excited for the match. There's no story character. Watch me. All right. So first up on Raw. Let's see what Dad said. Hold on. I gotta get out Dad's notes here. Bad Bunny returns to Raw seeking payback against the Judgment Day.
All right.
So
that seems warranted based on.
We're just gonna do the match. Everybody knows we're gonna do Bad Bunny and the other guy versus the Judgment Day.
Yeah, Rey Mysterio. That's the other guy, right?
I'm trying to convince Dad to have Bad Bunny eat this pin because I love Judgment Day.
Oh yeah, that'd be something else.
Yeah. Next up, Rey Mysterio clashes with the Judgment Day's Damian Priest. There's a lot of Judgment Day in this preview. I can appreciate that. Dad knows that I like Judgment Day. He's like, "Oh, you like Judgment Day? I'll give you all the Judgment Day you can ask for." I'll be like, "Well, can I book it?" And he's like, "No, I'm going to book it. They're going to be a supernatural act."
And then Judgment Day loses all the time.
Right. Dad's like, "Watch me."
Watch me bury Judgment Day. Huh?
Right, exactly. So, it's all bad here. No good. Nothing good. All bad.
So is this 2 hours of Judgment Day feuding with LWO?
Remember our plan for the
3
bad
hours, sorry.
Remember our plan for the Bad Dad stuff? We should do more Bad Dad stuff.
Not that.
Listen, Bad Dad stuff. Get on the dark web. We'll just call it the DW between you and I.
Nope.
Okay, and then you just order some arsenic.
Nope.
And then I'll put it in his eggs.
Not gonna happen. No.
All right. I'm glad. Just think about it. Be open to it.
I'll think about it. No, not doing it.
Look. If I can't convince you, maybe this guy can. Oh,
hang up, Steve. Hang up. Hang up.
Man, oh man, that's right. Listen.
Hang up.
Listen. It's a celebrity impersonator, Dick Slavitt. I ain't got no pants on. All right, I hung up. He's gone. Sorry, he just did that. Triple H passed his Zoom call over.
I don't think that happens. I don't think.
How does he do that?
Possible. Not possible.
Wow. Dick Slavitt came in with the run in there at the end.
I told you. No Dick Slavitt. And yet we got Dick Slavitt. You cut off Dick.
I cut Dick off, okay?
You cut Dick off. All right.
I cut Dick off. No Dick. Right? I did.
There's still too much. I said no Dick, and yet there was still Dick.
Well, there's a little bit of Dick.
I didn't want any Dick.
Just a little bit of Dick.
I asked for none.
Small Dick. Oh man! Wow. Well, I think the Punk Man here in Twitch chat says crowd wants to see Dick. So they got a little bit of Dick. That's gonna do it for the show today. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Dick Slavitt wins again. Talk to you guys later.
Goodbye.